Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is going to be on 3 individual Nextorch items. We have an accessory holster, a large flashlight, and a medium flashlight. So let's take a look at each individual item one at a time. Okay guys, so first off, let's start with the P81 tactical flashlight. I'm just going to read a couple of the specs down on the bottom of the box to you guys before we open up the box and get the flashlight out. So the battery type is 1-21700. The beam distance is 310 meters. The max output is 2600 lumens. Max runtime is 38 hours, which is actually really nice. The length is 161 millimeters by 35 millimeters by 28.5 millimeters. The weight is 174 grams or 6.13 ounces without the battery, and is constructed of aluminum material. On the side here it says we have 5 modes. Medium is 570 lumens, 4 hours and 30-minute runtime. Low is 40 lumens, which is 38-hour runtime. High is 2600 lumens, 2-hour runtime, and momentary on and off, because it does have a momentary switch. It is 2600 lumens, of course, however long you hold it. And then strobe, 2600 lumens, runtime is not shown, so it must run for a really long time. It is 3.6 volt, 4800 milliamp hour battery. Very nice flashlight. So on the other side, we do have a little bit more. I might as well cover this while I'm here. It is FL1 standard 2 meter drop resistant, FL1 standard 1 meter water resistance, FL standard high, low. So the high is 310 meters, 310 meters distance, and on low it travels 35 meters. And then the standard for high is 2 hours, low 38 hours. The high of 2600 lumens, low of 40 lumens, which I've already covered. So let's get right into the flashlight. Okay guys, so opening up the box, we have a nice plastic tray here with some accessories. Now, originally the battery would be located here. I already have it in the flashlight. But we do have a separate lanyard, which is very nice. Constructs, got the Nextorch branding on it. Basically a nice little wrist strap so you don't drop the flashlight. So I will be adding that at some point. We've then got the actual flashlight itself. We have some literature in a plastic baggie with 2 replacement O-rings, which are very useful, especially with this style of flashlight, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but those are definitely useful. I will mention that the light does charge with USB-C cable. It does come with a USB-C cable, however, I have taken it out because I've been using this quite a bit. So let's get the packaging out of the way, and let's look at the actual flashlight itself. So Nextorch P81, very sleek design. It does have 3 ceramic balls on the end, and those act as a glass breaker, so if you need to break some glass in an emergency situation, you can do so. It does have a nice bezel around the top. It looks like it's machined aluminum, very nice. Very nice deep dish for that light, so the pattern on this light is not a very wide throw. It's not very concentrated. It's kind of in between, so it's a really handy kind of all-purpose light. So on the bottom cap, we unscrew that. I got it very, very tight right now. This is where the battery is housed, and this is where one of the 2 O-rings will go on. This one is kind of typical on most flashlights. They'll have an O-ring on the end cap. The other O-ring is an interesting one that I want to show you guys. So here we have the battery. This is a 4800 milliamp hour 21700 lithium ion battery. We then have a positive and a negative marking on the actual flashlight body, so you know how to orientate this battery when you put it in. So we'll pop that back in there, screw on the end cap. Very nice construction. The quality on this is very high. The threads are precise. Everything's very, very precise. On the outside of the flashlight, we then have 2 rubber switches which are on top of each other. One is for a strobe and the other is for an on and off. They are momentary switches, like I said, so if I press this in slightly halfway, right now it's set on high, it'll come on high and then off right when I let go. And then if I press the small button, it'll go into a strobe mode, and then I press the small button again and it turns off. There is also 4 little lights on the side. They're blue LEDs, so if I turn this on, shining the light that way, camera might be able to pick up 3 of those 4 LED lights are now on, indicating I have 3 out of 4 battery life level. So there is a nice little indicator there. Now, how this charges is what really drew me to this flashlight. You'll notice that there's no external USB charge port. However, it's right here. So you simply unscrew the end cap. That's where the other O-ring is hidden. So it's very cleverly placed in there. And on the side, there's the USB-C charge port. So what that really means is when this is all threaded up and you're charged and ready to go, it is now waterproof. So there's no way for water to really get inside of here because there's O-rings, the switch is rubber. Now, of course, the deeper it goes, the more pressure builds up in the water. So general use, it's waterproof. I mean, you can go boating with this, you can have it out in the rain, and it works really, really well. So this light is incredibly awesome. I don't get hyped up on flashlights too often. And with these Nextorch lights, I am actually hyped up quite a bit on them. They're extremely bright. Let's talk about the next product because this product actually goes with this flashlight. So what this is the Nextorch V51 Quick Draw Holster. There's not a whole lot of specs on the box. We'll talk about the dimension. It is 114 grams or 4.20 ounces. 4.02 ounces, sorry. The dimensions are 130 millimeters by 55 millimeters by 76 millimeters. Let's get it out of the package and have a look at it. So this is actually a really interesting product, and it houses this flashlight like a glove. So it's a quick draw holster, like I've already covered. There is a little spring gate on the bottom. If you hold that open, you can then open this up. These correspond with MOLLE pouches or MOLLE slots. So if you have MOLLE on your backpack, you can actually slide that into the MOLLE and then simply click it in place and it's locked. The flashlight will be on that MOLLE. It also fits your belt. So if you want to open this up, you can then click it over top of your belt. Now the interesting thing with this system is it's universal. So if you press these two springs in, you can then slide it up for different widths of belts. And I find that really useful because I have some tactical belts that are really wide, and then I have just a regular leather belt, which is really narrow. I can simply click and drag that to wherever I need it. Click it on and it is on. It's not coming off. Now, this also rotates, so if you pull this tab up, it basically disengages the system inside of there, which then allows you to pull and rotate. So if you want to have your flashlight mounted on your hip pointing forwards and you can actually turn it on while it's in the holster, then you can go hands-free and have the light shining on something while you're working. Or if you have a strap on your backpack, you can rotate it and orientate it so it fits that way, and it'll basically shine a light when you need it. You reach up, click it on, turn on the light. You can work hands-free or hike at nighttime, whatever you need to do. Very useful system. Like I said, you just simply pull, rotate, and it locks in with teeth. Press that button down and it's locked in and it can't move anymore. There's then a quick release snap there. The flashlight simply loads in, clicks in, lock it, and there you go. And you can use it with it in the holster like I was saying. So there we go. We have it on there. Very nice system. It works on belts, backpacks, straps, whatever you need it to work on. It works very well. So before we move on to the large flashlight, I do want to come back to this light and talk about the modes. The buttons on this, like I already said, one button for strobe, the others for on, and then you have that momentary. If you hold it, it'll go on. It goes on high every time, so there's no, you can't select what the momentary does. But if you press the button in, it is now on medium power. And then if I just lightly tap the button, it'll switch. So now it's on low, and then another light tap, it goes on high, and then back to medium, low, and cycles through that way. Just this light little tap, and then a hard click, and you'll actually hear an audible click, the light goes off. And then when you press it in, another hard click, it'll go through one cycle, and then when you release the button, it'll lock on that cycle, and then you need to change the power settings from there. So very interesting system. I actually like this a lot. Like I said, I don't get hyped up on flashlights a lot, but this, I'm loving this system, especially with this quick release MOLLE. It just fits right on my belt, snap that in there, off I go. Very nice, and this actually ties in to the next product. Let's get the big flashlight out and have a look at that. Okay, so coming into the big flashlight, this is a Nextorch Saint Torch 30. This thing is incredible, and it's more than just a flashlight. So, just like the last light, let me read the side of the box to you just briefly. It has 7 modes. The momentary on is 8,000 lumens, very bright. Turbo on, so clicking and it's staying on by itself, is 8,000 lumens again, so that's the maximum output. That'll run for 2 hours and 15 minutes without stepping down on turbo. Incredible. High is 2400 lumens, runtime 4 hours. Medium is 720 lumens, runtime 7.5 hours. That's pretty long. Low is 90 lumens, running for 60 hours. Strobe is 8,000 lumens. There's no runtime on that. And then it does have SOS at 2400 lumens. No runtime on that. Now, this runs on 4 individual 2600 milliamp 14.4 lithium ion batteries. 4 of them. We're going to talk about that in a little more because there's a reason why. Not only the output reason, but there is quite a neat little function that it has. And then it goes on a little bit more descriptions on the back and whatnot. On the front, we'll cover this just a little bit. It is a 1 meter water resistant and 1 meter drop. So the same as the P81. Let's just get right into it. Let's get it right out of here. It actually has a case of its own. So pulling it out of the box, we'll get that off to the side. It does have this nice, neat little Cordura tactical pouch. Now remember where I said this goes with this. So here's a demonstration of that MOLLE system. Anywhere where there's MOLLE, I've been placing it on this side. So I just run the little fingers through the MOLLE loops. And once it's through the MOLLE loops, you then click it in place. And that is now on the carry bag. This carry bag, this entire unit and everything inside of it, this lives in my truck. This is my off-roading 4x4 overland kind of backcountry road exploration kit. I keep this in my truck all times, fully charged, ready to go. And if I have to step out of the truck and I need a small light, I can simply detach this in seconds, click it on my belt, and off I go with that. So that's how that works with this. Very nice pouch. It does have a front zip, if I can get that open. This drops down. It then has 2 individual pockets. One pocket I have the instruction manual. In the other pocket I have the charge cable. This again is USB-C charge, which is absolutely awesome. I love USB-C cables. So, and you can fit another additional flashlight in there if you wish, or maybe a pair of gloves or a headlamp, whatever you like. Coming into the top, oh, on the back there are individual MOLLE straps as well. So they are snaps, so you can then attach this pouch to a different MOLLE pack. So if you want to snap it on the outside of your backpack or a duffel bag, you can do that. And then it's got the branding Nextorch on top with a nice carry handle, reinforced stitched, of course. Coming inside, now here is where we have some fun items. We've got the flashlight itself. We're going to talk about this in a second, and yes, it does have a shoulder strap. It is removable. You don't have to leave it on there. I have it on right now because I actually wear it on my shoulder, hands-free while I'm walking in the woods, and use it that way. So coming inside, this is probably a little difficult to see. If you guys have camera backpacks, you're probably, here, let me just pull it out. So anyone who has a DSLR or a camera style backpack or carry bag has these removable kind of inserts that are Velcro. You can remove it or you can leave it in, you can unvelcro it, you can kind of position it however you like. So this is the top, so if you do want to run a flashlight inside, you could tie up that space, or you could fold it down and put the flashlight on top like I do. Underneath of that, I then have a charging block, so this comes with the flashlight. It is a adapter quick charge 3.0 and USB out, so that was basically you put your USB in there and then your USB-C to the battery to charge it. I then have another USB-C cable, so this cable actually goes to the P81, so both of them do come with their individual cables. And then I have 2 caps. This is interesting because these end caps can be used as a capsule on their own. So if I had anything that I wanted to store in here, maybe if you had medication, Tylenol, you can put them in there and store it. It is water sealed, so there is an O-ring and it's a very tight lock. This has an O-ring and this is wide open. So that's kind of like your dish area and this is your lid. So like I said, if you want to store medication in there or whatever you can conjure up to put in there that you want to stay dry and safe and secure, very tight seal. You do have a nice capsule. Now this is actually part of the flashlight, and we'll talk about that in just a second. And that's it for inside of the bag. You can use the bag by itself, or you can use it as an accessory pouch. I like using it as an accessory pouch for all of this stuff. So let's clean some of this up. Now like I said, the flashlight does come with a shoulder strap. It is adjustable, and it does come off. So I have it just on these little key rings right now. I'll go ahead and remove the strap just so we can kind of manipulate the light a little bit easier and show you just how quickly it can come off, because it does come off really quickly. And you can attach carabiners to this if you wish as well. That way you don't have to go through this process. You can just carabiner it on or carabiner it off. I leave the rings on there just so they're on there and I don't have to mess around with it again. So this light, got a little piece of tape on there. This light has 3 individual light bulbs. It does have cooling fins around the outside as well as cooling slots cut into it because it does get quite warm. It is a nice tactical light. It is a beefy light. I mean, there's no denying that that is a large flashlight, and it is quite heavy too. I'm not sure of the weight. I don't think the weight is on here, but I gotta say it is quite heavy. You have to check out their website for the weight because I don't have that. I want to say it's probably in the 3 to 4 pound range. It's definitely a hefty light. The reason why it is such a hefty light is the batteries. There's 4 batteries in here. So looking at the switch really quick, it is the same style switch as this, except there's 1. So hard press on, it goes on a mode, and then a light press, it dims down, and then another light press, it dims down, and then another light press off, strobe, and then there is that SOS mode in there as well. So if I hard press off, hard press on, same function as the last light, 8,000 lumens at high. It is very, very light, and this thing lights up the night. So I do have some test footage of when I was out camping. I'm going to roll that in here as part of the nighttime segment of this video, and I show both this and this on all the settings. So I will roll that footage, but let's unscrew the light and I'll show you how this charges. So you do have to unthread it from the body, exposing both a USB-C slot and a USB slot. Probably wondering, why does it do that? Well, we can continue unscrewing and completely detach the two. And remember those caps that I was talking about right here? These caps, simply unscrew. This end cap goes on to the flashlight, so we can then thread that on to the light, and it is waterproof with that O-ring. And this is basically a storage cap, so it's kind of like a lens cap to your camera. It just stores it, keeps it nice and clean and waterproof. You can then set that off to the side. This cap corresponds with the end of this, and some of you could probably see why I left that key ring on there, because now I can click this to whatever I want. So essentially what this is now is a battery unit, but it's also a battery bank. Check this out. We can unscrew, and like I said, we do have the USB slot input, so that's how you input to charge this, but we also have an output to a USB cable. So if I can find that cable, so if I take the USB cable and I plug it into the side, and let's take our P81 flashlight here, and we're going to unthread this and find that charging port. If I plug the USB-C into that, nothing happens until I switch this switch on the inside from LED. I go past the off, which we're going to talk about in a second, and then I go to the USB. Now we're charging. So this is an actual battery bank of, what did I say? Almost 10,000 milliamp hours, because each battery is 2,600 milliamps times 4. So that's a lot of battery power in here, and I'm now charging a flashlight. So it's a battery bank and a flashlight in itself. That can be quite useful if you're in an emergency situation and you need to top off a cell phone really quick, or a headlamp, and not burn as much power. You want to kind of keep on mobile going and whatnot. So many uses for that, but very simple and very useful. Now remember, I said there is an indicator in there. There's a tiny switch that says LED, and then off, and then USB. So USB is on right now. There's a blue indicator light that's on telling me USB is on. The middle switch is off. So what that does is, if I have this connected to the flashlight, it's basically a lockout, so I can't turn the light on. So it's great for storage because this button is actually exposed. If it is in the bag, and being 8,000 lumens, if you accidentally bump that and it turns on, it could melt or burn the bag. It's foolproof right here. So you could just switch that little switch down to off, and then keep the flashlight together, line those threads up, thread it back together, and I can't turn it on now. So you'll see I'm pressing the button, nothing, no power. It's a lockout mode. It is a foolproof method of locking out the flashlight, and it's something really clever that they came up with. Now, the interesting thing is with this is if you actually have 2 of these flashlights, or if you have another battery unit, you can bring the end cap to one and simply screw that on there, and then you can have one on the other light, and you've got a backup battery for your flashlight. So if you're out doing search and rescue or law enforcement or whatever, you can have a secondary battery that can be used as a battery bank or a secondary battery for the flashlight itself. So looking at the top of the battery, guys, this is a little switch that I was talking about. We could switch it up to LED mode or to the off mode, or switch it down to the USB. There's the blue indicator light letting you know that its USB is on, back off, and that basically is the simple function of the battery itself. Alright guys, so that is basically all I have for the tabletop review of these flashlights. They are extremely high quality, they're very bright, and the usability functions of them are really unique and interesting. I like them a lot. Like I said, I keep both of these in my truck at all times as my kind of back roads lighting situation if I need to get out and cut down a broken tree or whatever. This guy works amazing, as well as the little P81 to keep on your waist. Both of them are really well, and I think that they work really well together. I will mention one thing I did forget. Next to the power switch on the Saint Torch, it does have the 4 LED indicators on the side showing the charge level, just like the P81 does. So, all in all, I'm very happy with both of these lights. I'm now going to run the footage from my camping trip where I was playing around with these, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So that's all I have for the talking portion. Enjoy the demonstration, and I hope you guys liked the video. Drop down in the comments section if you guys have any questions or comments as usual, and I will get back to you. Check out the footage, guys. Okay guys, so this is my headlamp on turbo right now. Not really a whole lot of light. Not really lighting up anything. So I'm going to shut this off, and I'm going to grab the small flashlight. And here we go. So this is on medium, I believe. That's on low. That's on high. Look at that. That is insane. That lights up the entire forest, and it goes way back there when you're in an open scenario. So that's the small flashlight. Now let me shut this off and get out the big guy, because this thing is where the show's at. All right, here we go. That is the big light. That totally lights everything up. This is on low. Strobe. That's on high. That's as high as it goes right there. And then it steps down. And then it steps down again. So this is on low. Very bright flashlight.